Hey yo, what up, fans of the fucking sport? This is Lamech with Selah Sports TV back at it again. Chill. Uh, well, this Shakur Stevenson saga is getting a little bit more cloudy, right? And by cloudy, I mean messy. Uh, we've had a couple days of news with this thing, and it's all stemming from Shakur Stevenson's fight, uh, in which he basically dominated the guy, right? He dominated the guy. Uh, Complete shutout. Maybe you could give his opponent one round, right? One round, but at the most, at the absolute maximum, 2 rounds, which is the equivalent of a one-sided ass whipping, right? Or at least a one-sided boxing match in this regard, because Shakur Stevenson ain't really whipping nobody ass. The last time he whipped somebody ass was when he fought my man. What's his fucking name? You know what I mean? Bo Max, old fighter. Damn, that's my guy too. But hey, it's early. I can't think of the name right now. But you guys type it in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But that was the last time he really whipped somebody's ass. I think he stopped them too. He actually got a stoppage, right? That was the best he looked. Like he was sitting on his punches and everything. But I want to say this, man. I really want to say this. I don't really want to. I hate the fact that it needs to be said, but it really does. Like, boxing fans, bro, y'all gotta chill, bro. Y'all really gotta chill. Like, boxing fans are. See, boxing is different from other sports. With boxing, the fans hold a lot of weight. Like the diehard fans, the fighters, the promoters, like they all listen to the public sentiment, especially with the social media shit. They listening to what boxing fans have to say, especially some of the bigger channels. Like, absolutely, they have influence, right? So if these big channels with the huge influence, if they're taking the scales and flipping the fucking scales, and I'm gonna explain what that means, but you want to flip the scales on these fighters and basically say shit like, "Oh, that was a terrible show," in a fight where a guy wins 10 out of 12 fucking rounds. You want to turn that into a bad performance? To me, that's flipping the scales. Now, there's one thing, like the fight against Edwin De Los Santos. Fine, I get that. He ran around. He didn't want to get hit at all against Edwin De Los Santos. He didn't want to get touched by that guy. And I didn't really give him a pass, but the guy did say he had an injury. Bob Arum said he had an injury. Right? That's facts. That's facts. This ain't coming from Shakur Stevenson, super fan. I like him. I like as a fighter. I think he's good, but I'm not a super fan. I'm not a really fan of nobody for real. But here's the thing: you can't flip the scales on these fighters. He won 10 out of 12 rounds. How is that bad? Now, I get it. If you want to say, it's kind of boring to me, I'm not really entertained by that. I mean, that's fair. Put it like this: it can be fair. It can be fair. It can also be unfair. Like if a lot of y'all were fans of Mayweather, like if when Mayweather went out there and fought Pacquiao in that Maypac fight, and you liked that performance, you don't really have no credibility, right? You don't really have no credibility. And I'm not hating on Floyd. Floyd as a fighter, I can't take nothing away from him. Was his career perfect? Is he the best ever? No, I don't think he's the best ever. But he's definitely on that. He's on that list. Absolutely. You can't take nothing away from Floyd Mayweather, but like a lot of y'all had no problem with Floyd, but everybody else, you just like you want to hold them to these standards. You can't flip the scales on fighters like that. Now, if he's going out there gutting out, if he fought like that, like if he, let's talk about his last fight, right? Let's talk about that fight. Um, his opponent's name is escaping me right now, but you guys know what I'm talking about. He didn't run from that motherfucker. He didn't run. He stood right there in front of him. The guy just couldn't touch him. And Mace talking about, yeah, you can't swim without getting wet. Like, yeah, you can. He did. That's exactly what he did. But you telling a boxer what he can't do after he just did it. I'm gonna say this because I feel like it need to be said. Like, it's sometimes like when people get into it, like two sides get into it or whatever for whatever reason, like that ain't a reason or a cause for everybody else to start picking sides, right? We can just observe from the sideline or not observe. We can just keep it moving on, like not even pay attention to the shit. But if you want to pay attention, you got the right to. It's the public. Sometimes shit need to be seen. We need to see how people handle things, and that's my approach to this Cameron and Mace, and then you have Jay Prince, right? Shakur Stevenson going at it because we need to see how people handle things. Now, it's sometimes some events where there is no bad guy, there is no good guy, right? Like in this instance, I see everybody's points. I see everybody's points. Shakur Stevenson's the fighter. I'm gonna side with the fighter. He the one climbing between the ropes, right? Putting his life on the line, you know, doing all the training, all the sparring and, you know, starving himself. He's the one doing that. I'm gonna tend to side with the fighter. Right? Now, I'm also a boxing fan, so I get it. Everybody ain't just in life in general, everybody ain't gonna like everybody else. Right? Every girl ain't gonna like you. You ain't gonna like every girl. Every dude ain't gonna like you. You ain't gonna like every dude. Pause. Not you know what I mean. Um it's just not like you gotta let that shit just roll. Fuck all of that. So here's the thing. Here's my rundown. Shakur's the fighter. He ain't do nothing wrong. He went out there and smoked the guy. 10 out of 12 rounds. Really 11. But I'm gonna give you 10. Right? That's what he did. Then you got Cam and Mace offering their opinion, which they're not wrong. I mean, I don't agree with their opinion. I don't like. I'm okay with pure boxers. Isn't my favorite style. I don't really like. To me, it ain't necessarily about the style. It's more about the level. People be getting too caught up in styles. To me, it ain't about the style. It's more about the level that you can fight that style at. I've seen like pure boxers that operate at a very high level. Lennox Lewis, right? Well, Lennox Lewis is a knockout artist. Yeah, he was, right? He was. And we've seen him go into another mode, right, against Klitschko. We've seen him go into a mode where he wasn't pure boxing, but his base, Lennox Lewis at his best, was a pure boxer, fighting behind his jab, right? It's different. It's about the level. Every pressure fighter is not entertaining to watch. Believe it or not. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. It's the level that you can fight that style at. Now, they have a right to their opinion, but personally, I think once they start getting into, well, I got more money than you, I thought that was corny. But that's just my personal. That's just me. I got more money than you, and like all that shit. Like, just keep it cool. Shakur Stevenson did take it into some fuck shit first. He invited the bullshit first, right? Talking about stay strapped up and all that bullshit. Like, why? You don't have to respond to everybody. You don't have to respond to everybody. Like, this is what I'm disappointed in. Like, OG, you can't just call yourself an OG, right? You gotta behave a certain way. In this situation, Cam and Mace, see, this is why I don't go by that OG shit. Don't call me no OG. I ain't no I ain't on that. You know what I mean? But I'ma just talk within that little paradigm right now. In this instance, Cam and Mace are the OGs. Like, they could have came at that dude with a little bit more grace, right? They could have did that. Cause I ain't even see them. Like, did they? Maybe they did. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But did they go at Ryan Garcia that hard? As hard as they did? This dude, you know what I mean? And of course, he didn't respond. Like, people just gotta chill out, man. The social media got people crashing out too fast. Too fast. Now, as for Jay Prince, like, I'm glad Mace straightened him out. I agree with every word that Mace said. This is what I'm saying. This is why you don't need to pick sides. Because it's enough for everybody to get some. And Jay Prince, like, this dude always coming in trying to play the bully. Always coming in trying to play the bully. You know, and Cam and Mace, they sitting there talking about well, why you ain't do this to Kendrick Lamar? Well, he Jay Prince know he can't run that type of game in California. He knows he can't do that. But he knows New York is a little bit is different. Like, you get sold out by anybody over there, right? Let's just keep it 100. But I ain't trying to get all into that. Um, my point is for the sport, right? For the sport, let's keep the shit. Let's keep some type of perspective. For those of us who know a little bit of something about the sport, I don't. Yeah, I know. I'm not one of them who claim to know everything about the sport. I take comfort in knowing that I don't know everything about the sport. Just in life in general. Because life gets boring once you know everything about some shit. Now everything that you come across, you jaded because you experienced it before. So it's plenty of shit that I don't know about boxing. Plenty. But it's a lot that I know too, right? And one thing I know is, like, when people are, if he goes out there and struggle with that style, safety first style, and he's out there struggling against guys that he should be smoking, right? That's one thing. Then we can really criticize him and, you know, fine. I mean, you can criticize whoever the fuck you want, but it just, your criticism would make sense then. But when he's dominating guys and they can't touch him, I don't give a fuck if he land three punches per round. I don't care. I gave this example before, but imagine like you got a football team, right? And um your offensive line is like the shit, right? Your offensive line is killing. So you going up against a team where and it's like they can't stop you from running the ball. They can't stop you from running it. So you run it. You run it, right? You run it. And it's going to be a lot of 3 yard runs, and it's going to be a lot of 5 yard runs, and 7 yard runs, and 20 yard runs. But it's going to be a lot of running, and that's not as entertaining as throwing the ball all over the field. But it's effective, right? You're not turning the ball over. You're not throwing picks. You're not taking sacks and shit. You running the ball right down their fucking throat. Pause. See how in football they don't give a fuck if the fans are, ooh, that's not entertaining. We here to win a game, dude. I mean, hopefully you're entertained by how we win, but we get paid to win, bro. We trying to compete to win. It's entertainment within the sport. You supposed to be entertained by how teams are trying to win. You want a guy, right? I can't even call him a kid. Like, you want this guy to change his style, put himself at risk to entertain you when can't nobody touch him right now. Like, literally can't nobody touch him. He's not having close fights. But you want him to scrap it, drop it. Drop all of that just to entertain you. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, that's all I got. If you like the video, bang off on that like button one time. Peace.